It's Matt from Z93's Morning After, and it is my honor to be joined on the phone by Jane's Addiction frontman, Lollapalooza founder, the one, the only, Perry Farrell. Perry, good morning. How are you?
Doing real well. My mind busy looking at art, talking to you guys. Breakfast just arrived, so it's a really busy and exciting morning.
Well, Perry, it's been 10 years since we've heard new music from you. What made you finally decide, this is the time? It's been 10 years. What made you decide to go back in the studio and record Kind Heaven?
Well, I love to record music. It's just, I don't know what. I take it kind of casually when I feel like I have something to say. I say it, and if not, I just kind of keep quieter and observe. I have, beautiful things like Lollapalooza in my life where I can kick back if I want and just observe and listen and appreciate other people's music. And then one night I had a very powerful dream, and it was the dream of Kind Heaven. And so I started to just write poetry, what I wanted to say, how I wanted to express myself. And of course, as you know, the way I express myself best is through music. And got to a place where I was starting to collaborate with people. I was telling them about the concept for Kind Heaven, which is about the world approaching and crossing the threshold of the Messianic era. And everybody kind of contributed ideas to it and contributed excitement and music. And so here we are now with the music has finally come out. It came out a few days ago, the first single, Pirate Punk Politician, and the album will drop in June, and we'll get to tour this great body of work in Lollapalooza. And getting smaller and more intimate, we're going to be going to what we're calling, residencies, a very exciting concept for musicians where we'll be able to stay in one place and have a city come and visit us and hear us and get to know their musical community, so to speak.
And I actually had the chance to hear you talk about the new album in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and I could feel the passion when you discussed Kind Heaven. Even now, hearing you talk about all the elements that went into this project and everything that's going to happen with the project in the next few months. How much does this album mean to you? I realize it's been a while since we've recorded new music, but there's a lot of other things that are going on with this album than just, hey, here's new music from Perry Farrell.
Yeah, so when people say, you have a new solo album out, I actually don't really know what they're talking about. Initially, I'm thinking do I? Because, yes, you are correct. I look at Kind Heaven as a project that nowadays an artist has multi-platforms to express themselves. Back in the 60s, groups like The Who would come up with a rock opera, something like Tommy or Quadrophenia. It was a concept album. And what they had back in those days was they had obviously, recording studio. They'd record, then they would go out on tour, and they had the stages around the world, the arenas and everything, and sometimes the stadiums in which to perform. Well, now, man, you wake up as a musician, you've got, your recording studio, you've got arenas around the world to perform, but you have social, digital media to help spread the message. And what I've done with this, let's call it for a moment a rock opera, is I've literally found a building in Las Vegas. It was a hotel, a 100,000 square foot hotel across the street from Caesar's Palace. We've gutted it, and we're turning it into a multi-varietal entertainment complex. And why I call it a complex is because not only are you going to be able to hear, and appreciate music, we have 4 stages in the building, but you're going to be immersed in this world that we've created for you. You're going to hear the music and listen to the music in Atmos sound. So for those of you who don't know what Atmos sound is, it is the system that you listen to when you go into a movie theater. So you're basically surrounded by the sounds. And this is the very first album in history that was recorded in Atmos. So although you'll be able to appreciate and listen to the music in a typical stereo system, like the one people are probably listening to right now, if you had a better home entertainment system, you could listen to it in Atmos, or you could go to Las Vegas and hear it in Atmos, or you might be able to, the new speaker systems are going to be able to play music, and you'll be able to hear music in Atmos. So just the listening experience alone is going to be brand new and exciting.
Joined on the phone by Perry Farrell. New album, Kind Heaven, will be out later this year. You mentioned earlier that you just released the first single. It is called Pirate Punk Politician, and you've described it as a good old-fashioned protest song. So what are we protesting, Perry, with this first single?
Well, we're protesting autocracy. We're protesting strong men that have come up around the world that are fascists and bigots and racists and ignorant of the state of the world and in particular, the environment and the health of Mother Earth. We want to raise the consciousness of the voters around the world, just so that they understand that, there is a way out of this tangled mess that we've gotten ourselves into where, the world is getting so polluted and taken over by people that just think that they're above the law and can do it whatever they want, and they are just ripping off the people. They're ripping off the people that are the working class. And that's who we're protesting against.
Pirate Punk Politician is available now. You'll be able to hear it on Kind Heaven when that is released. You talked a little bit about the tour you're going to go on with Kind Heaven and how it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be different than going to just any old concert. So explain a little bit what a show with the Kind Heaven Orchestra will be like.
Well, to start with, rather than just come through and do a show and then pack up and go to the next city, we like the idea of doing residencies. Just like the Beatles in Hamburg, early 60s, when these young men were practicing their crafts and getting so good at, harmonizing together. The way they got so good so fast was they were in residency in a place called the Ratskeller, the Rat Cellar, in Hamburg. So I want to bring that same sense of music, the new music scene, and the way to do that is to show up in the city and go in residency, be there for a little while, have the musical community show up, and that's one different aspect to the show. And the other is we are going to make it an immersive experience using the latest technology, cell phone technology, actors, improvisational actors. And I won't give away much more than that, but just to tell you that it is not going to be a typical, show where the band show, goes on at 9:45 and does whatever, an hour and a half show, and they split. We're going to be rubbing elbows. That's the best way to put it. We're going to be rubbing elbows.
It's going to be a very busy 2019 for Perry Farrell. New album is coming out here in just a little bit. The first single, Pirate Punk Politician, is available now and taking the Kind Heaven Orchestra on the road as well. Perry, I know you're in Buenos Aires, so I appreciate you taking a second to call in and enjoy the Lollapalooza shows you've got coming up.
I will, and thank you for playing the song. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all pretty soon.